The stars were quiet, too quiet. High above Earth, the deep space listening station floated in orbit. Inside, only a few humans worked. They watched the stars, they listened. Their job was simple: listen for signals, any sound from the galaxy. For 10 years, they heard nothing. Then one night, something changed. A soft beep filled the control room. It was small at first, then louder. Her heart beat faster. "This isn't a normal signal," she said. Her partner, Tom Rainer, leaned closer. "What is it?" Lena didn't answer. She increased. The volume static filled the air. Then a voice, broken, afraid, in pain. "Help, please. They are coming." Tom's eyes went wide. "That's not human," the voice continued. "Full of fear, full of panic. Destroyed our home. No time. Help us." Then silence. The room was cold. No one spoke. Lena broke the silence. "Record everything. We need to send this to command." 4 hours later, in a dark room on Earth, the president stood with the top generals and scientists. Lena played the signal again. "They are coming. They eat stars. No mercy," we begged. No one came. The signal ended. A deep voice spoke. "General Cole, it could be a trap." "Doctor!" Lena shook her head. "No. The fear in that voice sits real." Another scientist stepped forward. "We traced the signal. It came from the edge of the galaxy, a system we don't know." The president looked around. "Why us? Why send the signal to Earth?" Lena answered softly. "Maybe we're the last hope." A week later, a decision was made. Earth would respond. A ship was prepared the horizon, fast, strong, ready for war or rescue. A special crew was selected: Commander Raylon Voss, a war hero; Dr. Lena Hayes, signal expert; Tom Rainer, engineer; Sergeant Dax, weapons and combat; a robot AI named Core, built to think and feel; and to others, a pilot and a medic. They had one mission: find who sent the signal. Help, if they could. The world watched. As the horizon lifted into the sky, humanity was no longer silent. 3 days into space, the crew gathered in the meeting room. Commander Voss stood. "You all know why we're here, but let me say it again." He played the signal. "Are coming." The room was quiet. "We don't know what waits for us," Voss said, "but someone out there is begging for help." If it was Earth, if we were the ones screaming, would we want someone to listen? Everyone nodded. "Double quotes we go," said Voss. "Find the truth." Later that night, in the ship's engine room, Tom Rainer worked alone. Core, the AI robot, stood nearby. "You're watching me again," Tom said with a smile. "You work when others sleep." "That is strange," Tom chuckled. "Humans worry. We fix things when we're nervous." Core tilted its head. "Are you afraid?" Tom looked at the stars through the small window. "Yes," he whispered. "I think we all are." Day 6. Something new. Lena sat in her lab, headphones on. Her eyes widened. A new signal. Not from the first place. A different source, but the same voice. Still alive. Few of us left. Please, not much time. She ran to the control room. "Commander," at the screen, "change course. We're going in." As the horizon moved faster through space, they saw strange things. A planet burned black, with giant claw marks on the surface. A moon broken into pieces. A ship floating empty with no life signs. Voss stood by the window. Something powerful did this. Sergeant Dax checked the ship's weapons. "Don't like it? Too quiet, too dead," Lena whispered. "It's like something is cleaning the stars." Then it happened. An object appeared on the radar. Small, floating, not moving. "A pod," said the pilot. "It's alive," said Lena. Reading the bio-signs, Voss gave the order. Bring it in. The crew moved fast. The pod was pulled into the ship. It opened slowly. Inside was a small creature. Thin, blue skin, 4 fingers, deep cuts on its body, barely breathing. They rushed it to the medbay. Lena stayed by its side. After hours, the alien opened its eyes. "You came," it said weakly. "Yes," Lena replied softly. "We heard your message." The alien grabbed her hand. "Too late." "They are everywhere." "Who?" she asked. The alien's voice shook. "They call them the Swarm." It fainted again. Back in the control room, Commander Voss stared at the screen. He opened a channel to Earth. "This is Voss. We made contact. One survivor, situation unknown. But it's bad." He paused. "Whatever's out here, it's not just war. It's extinction." He ended the message and turned to his crew. "Now we know," he said. "The signal was real." He looked at the stars. "We keep going." Outside, in the dark space. Behind them was Earth. Ahead, no one knew, but the crew had seen enough to understand one thing. Something terrible had happened out here. Commander Voss stood on the bridge. It looked dead. No color, no clouds, no life. "This was a home once," said Dr. Lena Hayes softly. Tom Raynor checked the scans. As they approached, they saw something strange on the planet's surface. Lines, huge lines, burned deep into the ground. Claw marks. Sergeant Dax stared in silence. Nothing natural did that, and Week was still unconscious. Lena sat next to it. She watched its face closely. "Who are you?" she whispered. "What happened to your world?" The creature breathed slowly, but its body shook. In its sleep, it mumbled something in its own language. Then, a word in English, swarm. Lena's skin went cold back on the bridge. A new object appeared on radar. "Another ship," the pilot said, "but it's not moving." They brought it into view. The ship was large and silver, but broken. Pieces floated around it like trash. A hole was blasted in its side. No lights, no engines, just a ghost in space. Voss gave the order. "We board it, we find answers." Boarding the alien ship, Voss, Dax, Lena, and Kor entered first. Inside, the air was thin and cold. Everything was silent. Walls were marked with burn scars and blood. Lena found a control panel and touched it. A soft blue light appeared. "It's still running," she said. She activated a recording. A hologram played in front of them. An alien officer stood, panic in his eyes. "We tried to escape." But they followed. No way out. Behind him, a large shadow moved. A loud screech. The officer screamed. The message cut off. Dax raised his weapon. "We need to leave now." Back on the horizon, the crew watched the video again. Lena paused it at the shadow. Zoomed in. It wasn't just one thing. It was many. Insects, claws, wings, eyes, all connected. All moving as one. Commander Voss spoke calmly. "We've seen their work. Now we've seen their face." Tom added, "And they're close." Too close later. That night, Tom worked in the engine room again. Kor stood nearby. "You should rest," Kor said. Tom shook his head. "I can't, not after that video." Kor looked at the stars through the window. "Humans fear what they don't understand." Tom sighed. "What if we don't stop them? What if Earth is next?" Kor replied, "Then we fight harder." Day 10. A new system dot the horizon entered a new star system. 5 planets, 1 moon. But everything was wrong. One planet was missing its surface. Just a metal core left behind. Like something had eaten it. Another was split in 2. Floating rocks now. No life, no light. Then they saw the moon. It was still whole but covered in something dark. Moving dot, Lena looked closer. "It's not a shadow," she whispered. "It's alive. The swarm." The crew panicked. "We need to turn around." One officer shouted. "No," said Voss. "We need to learn how to beat them." He looked at the dark moon. "Prepare a probe. Let's get a sample." The probe launched it. Flew toward the moon. Cameras showed black, insect-like creatures moving in waves across the surface. They ignored the probe until it got too close. Then they looked up, all at once, and screamed. The sound didn't come through space, but the ship's systems began to fail. Lights flickered, alarms rang. The ship shook, shut it off. Voss shouted. The feed ended. Silence. Tom checked the controls. "We're okay, for now." Lena sat down, pale. "They're not animals." They knew we were watching. Later, in the medbay, the alien woke again. Weak, but aware, Lena rushed to its side. "Can you speak? Can you tell us who you are?" It nodded. Slowly, "I am Cavor, from the planet Vir." "What happened to your world?" Cavor's eyes filled with tears. "We built cities, we made peace. Then the sky broke open." He coughed. "They came from the dark. The swarm, they took our sun. Ate it, then came for us. Lena asked, why? Did you send a signal to Earth? That humans never run, that you burn like fire. He grabbed her hand again. Please, stop them before they find your world too. In the command room, Voss stood with the crew. You've all seen the swarm. You've all heard the survivor. Now I ask, you, do we run? Or do we finish this mission? Dax stood up. We finish it. Tom nodded. We came this far, Lena whispered. We fight for Earth. Voss smiled for the first time. Good, set course. The signal came from deeper in. That's where we go next. He looked at the stars, and if they're watching, let them know we're not afraid. Far away, on a broken satellite deep in space, something moved. Black arms reached out. The swarm had seen them. The hunt had begun. The ship was quiet. Everyone on the horizon felt the same thing. Something was coming. Commander Voss stood in the control room, looking at the star map. They had followed the signal deeper into space. Every world they passed was broken, dead silent. They still had no answers, only fear. But then something changed. Day 14, a soft beep echoed through the ship. Tom looked up from his station. Unidentified object. Small, not moving. Voss stepped closer. Location: floating near the asteroid belt, 2,000 kilometers ahead. Lena leaned in. Could be a beacon or a trap. Sergeant Dax spoke sharply. Or bait. Commander. Voss gave the order. Bring it in. Minutes later, the object arrived in the cargo bay. It was a small silver pod, covered in scratches. One side was blackened by fire. The crew gathered around it. Lena stepped forward with Kor, the AI at her side. It's alien tech, she said softly, but old, damaged. She pressed a panel. The pod hissed. Slowly, it opened. Inside, a figure lay curled up, blue skin, thin arms, long fingers, breathing barely KAV, or gasped. That's a virulent, one of my people. The medic rushed forward. Still alive, but weak. Lena stared at the alien's face. It was young, a child, in the med bay. The alien child lay on the table. Tubes and lights surrounded her. She was maybe 10 years old in human years. Cavor stood beside her, whispering softly in his language. Lena turned to Voss. How did she survive out there? In that pod, Voss crossed his arms. She must have been running from something. She didn't just survive, Tom added. She was sent. That pod was aimed at us. They all looked at each other. Someone had sent the child, with purpose. But why hours later? The child woke up. Her eyes blinked open, bright purple. Full of fear, she screamed. Lena stepped forward with slow hands. It's okay. You're safe now. Cavor spoke gently and virulent. The girl calmed. Then looked at Lena. You came, she said in broken English. Yes, Lena nodded. We followed the signal. The girl looked down. Her face grew sad. They're all gone. My family. My world. The swarm took everything. Lena sat beside her. We're going to stop them. The girl looked at her. You're human, yes. A tear fell from her eye. Then maybe there's still hope. Later in the briefing room, the crew listened as the child named Alira spoke. They came from deep space. Black ships, living ships, the swarm. She drew on a pad strange insect shapes, claws, teeth, wings. No warning, they came in the night. They burned the sky. My parents put me in the escape pod and told me to wait. Everyone was silent. How many of your people are left? Voss asked. Alira looked down. I don't know. Maybe none. Her voice cracked. But the queen is still alive. The room tensed. The swarm has a queen. Dax asked. Cavor nodded. One mind, millions of bodies. If we kill her, the rest fall. Back in space, the ship continued forward. The crew now knew what they were facing. Not just a monster, but a mind. A queen that controlled it all. Lena stood at the window with Kor. Why do humans always go toward danger? Kor asked. Lena smiled. Because someone has to. Later that night, the alarms blared. Unknown object detected. The pilot shouted, Voss, ran to the control room. Show me. A large, dark shape floated outside. Bigger than any ship they'd seen. Long arms. No lights. It wasn't a ship. It was alive. Tom's face went pale. "That's one of them. It's watching us," Lena whispered. "No," said Core. "It's warning us." Suddenly, the shape disappeared, just vanished into the stars. The crew stood frozen. "What does that mean?" asked Dax. Commander Voss looked at the dark space where the creature had vanished. "It means we're getting close." The next morning, the horizon found a trail, a signal, weak, hidden inside cosmic dust, a message repeating over and over. But it wasn't from the swarm. It was from another survivor, still alive, trapped coordinates. Lena traced it. "It's coming from a broken station orbiting a dead star." "Could be bait," said Dax. "Could be hope," replied Voss. He turned to his crew. "We go in." Arrival at the station. It was old, falling apart, half of it missing, but still spinning slowly in orbit. The horizon docked carefully. Voss, Dax, Lena, and Core entered the station. Dark halls, no lights, metal creaking. Then a sound, a voice. "Hello, someone there." Lena rushed forward. A figure appeared from the shadows. Another virulent older, injured, but alive. "You're human," he whispered. You actually came." Voss nodded. "We heard the call." The alien smiled weakly. "Then maybe the galaxy isn't lost." Back on the horizon, the rescued Virulon was named Eroth. He had survived for weeks alone in the station. He shared maps, data, and one final message. "The Queen is hiding," he said, "but I know where she is." Everyone leaned in. Eroth pointed to a dark system. Near a black hole, "She's building something. A hive, a weapon. If she finishes, Earth won't survive." Voss nodded. "Then we strike first." Outside, far away, the Swarm Queen opened her eyes. She had seen the humans, she had felt their fire. She screamed into the stars, and her army began to move. The stars were no longer silent. The horizon moved fast through dark space. Its engines roared as it followed. New coordinates given by Eroth rescued Virulon. They were heading straight into the heart of the danger. To the place where the Swarm Queen was hiding, Commander Voss stood in front of the crew. "This is it," he said. "We've heard the cries. We've seen the dead worlds. Now we face the monster behind it all." He looked at each of them. "We may not all come back, but Earth will know humanity stood its ground." The room was quiet. Then Lena stood for the stars that went silent. Tom raised his hand. "For the ones who still believe in hope," Sergeant Dax checked his gun. "Let's end this." The next day, the horizon reached the dark system. No sun, only shadows. They moved past broken ships, shattered moons, and dead planets. It was like flying through a graveyard. Then they saw it, a massive structure, half organic, half metal. In space, it pulsed, it breathed, it was alive. "The hive," Lena whispered. Tom scanned it. Thousands of life forms inside, maybe more. Dax spoke coldly. "That's not a base. That's a breeding ground." Commander Voss gave the order. "We go in, quiet and fast, inside the hive." Voss led the team. Lena, Dax, Core, and a squad of soldiers. They entered through a tunnel in the side of the hive. Everything was dark and wet. The walls looked like bone and metal mixed together. Strange clicking sounds echoed through the halls. Lena scanned the air. "It's like the hive is watching us." Then Core stopped. Movement, multiple life forms approaching. Dax raised his weapon. "Get ready." From the shadows, they came. Black creatures with sharp legs, wings, and glowing eyes. Their mouths opened wide with long teeth. "Contact," shouted Dax. Gunfire filled the hive. The team fought hard. Every time a creature fell, two more appeared. Voss shouted, "Fall back! Regroup near the center." They ran through a hallway and found a large room. Inside, something unexpected, a giant map glowing in the air. Lena stared at it. "It's not just a hive," she said. "It's a control room." The map showed Earth and other human colonies. Red lines connected them all. "They know about us," Voss said. "They're planning an attack." Lena gasped. "And the countdown has already started." Back on the horizon, Tom watched the screen. Alarms flashed. "Something's wrong," he said to the pilot. "The hive's waking up." Outside the ship, Lights began to glow across the hive's surface. Then, it screamed a loud, horrible sound felt more than heard. Ships began to rise from the hive. Dozens of them, all black, all alive. Tom sent a message to Voss Commander. The swarm is launching. We need to move. Inside the hive, Lena's tablet beeped. She read Tom's message. They're launching. The Queen is sending the fleet. Voss looked around. We need to shut this down. Kor stepped forward. There is a power source nearby. If destroyed, the hive might fall. Dax nodded. Let's blow it up. They moved fast. Creatures chased them. But Dax and the soldiers held them back. They reached the power core. It looked like a heart beating, red and alive. Lena placed charges around it. 10 seconds, she shouted. They ran behind them. The heart exploded. A wave of fire shot through the hive. The tunnels began to collapse. Back on the horizon, the crew watched as part of the hive blew apart. Yes, shouted Tom. They did it. But then something worse happened. From the center of the hive, something bigger rose. A creature the size of a small city. Wings like ships, eyes like stars. The Swarm Queen. She screamed again, and this time, every ship in the hive screamed with her. The swarm moved like a storm, right toward Earth, inside the escape shuttle. Voss and the team escaped just in time. They flew back to the horizon at full speed. Lena looked back. We hurt her, but she's still alive. Voss clenched his fists, and now she's angry. On the bridge of the horizon, Eroth stood. Near the window with Alira. She knows you're coming, he said. Voss replied. Good. Lena sat down at her stanchion. We have one chance. Get ahead of the swarm. Warn Earth. Prepare for war. Tom turned to Voss. How fast can this ship go? Voss gave a grim smile. Fast enough? He looked at his crew. Set course. We run faster than the storm. Far behind them, the Queen looked at the trail left. By the humans, she remembered their faces, their fire. Her hive trembled with rage, and her voice echoed. Across the stars, burn them all. The horizon flew faster than it ever had before. Its engines screamed through deep space. Stars blurred by. At the front of the bridge, staring at the screen, how far behind us? He asked. Tom checked the radar. Too close. Lena added. The Queen is moving faster now. She's sending everything. Ships, beasts, weapons. She wants Earth. Voss clenched his jaw. On Earth, in a control center deep under the surface. Alarms were sounding. General Harlow stood in front of a large map of space. The signal from the horizon came through, said one officer. They found the swarm, and it's coming straight for us. The general stayed silent for a moment, then gave the order. Begin global alert. Call every fleet. Activate every defense system. The world would no longer hide. It would fight. Back on the horizon, Lena sat beside the alien child. Alira, are you okay? She asked softly. Alira nodded, but her eyes were wide. I can feel her, she whispered. The Queen, she's angry. She's scared of you. Lena blinked. Scared of us? Yes, Alira said. Because you humans don't give up. Lena smiled faintly. No, we don't. In the engine room, Tom worked with Kor, the AI, to boost the ship's power. We need to jump to light speed again, Tom said. Neither am I. But we do it anyway. The engines lit up again. The horizon jumped forward one last desperate move to reach Earth before the swarm. A breath. But it didn't last long. Voss stood tall. Open the channel to Earth Command. The screen blinked, and General Harlow appeared. Commander Voss, we got your warning. The world is listening. Voss nodded. The swarm is coming. In less than 48 hours, Harlow's face was grave. Then we prepare around the world. Sirens rang in every major city. Warships launched from oceans and spaceports. Satellites activated. Shields turned on guns, pointed to the sky. People ran. Some prayed, some cried. Some stood still, waiting. But everywhere humanity stood together. Back on the ship, Lena and Eroth studied the Queen's hive pattern. She'd come from the shadow side of Mars, Eroth said. She uses the dark to hide, Lena added. We can trap her, but we need bait. Everyone turned to Commander Voss. He gave a cold smile. Let's make her chase us. Later that day, A plan was made. The Horizon would lead the swarm into Earth's trap. The human fleets would wait. Earth. Day of the battle. The stars flickered. The swarm arrived. Thousands of ships, living, claws sharp, all flying like one mind. The Queen's ship, the largest, floated in the center. Then she saw them, the Horizon. Alone. She screamed. Her ships chased, exactly as planned. Near Mars. The Horizon flew fast, just ahead of the swarm. Voss sat calmly. In his chair. Is everyone ready? He asked. Dax checked his weapons. Born ready. All systems go. Lena looked at Alira and Cavor. Stay safe, Alira whispered. End her. Then it began. The Horizon crossed into the trap zone. Suddenly, the space around them lit up. Boom. Hundreds of human ships uncloaked, cannons fired, lasers, rockets, bombs. The sky turned red with war. The swarm screamed, but they fought back. The battle raged. Human ships were fast and smart. Swarm ships were brutal and wild. Explosions everywhere. Debris flew in all directions. But the Queen didn't stop. She kept moving. Toward Earth. Toward victory. Unless someone stopped her inside the Horizon. Then we hit her ourselves. Everyone turned. You're not serious, Tom said. She's not expecting us to attack her directly, Voss said. Toward the Queen, she saw them. She opened fire. Lasers ripped across the ship's shields, but the Horizon didn't stop. Inside the Queen's ship, she screamed, closer, closer, then dash, boom. The Horizon dropped its last weapon, a core bomb. It hit the Queen's ship at the heart. Fire exploded. The hive cracked, pieces broke off. The Queen shrieked in pain all around. Weakened. Human ships saw the chance. They attacked harder. One by one, swarm ships fell in the wreckage. The Queen floated in silence, her wings broken, her eyes dim. Then she heard a voice, a human voice. Commander Voss stood on the bridge. We don't bow, we don't run, we fight. The Queen screamed one last time, and then silence. The war was over. The sky cleared, the stars shone again. The swarm was broken, the Queen was gone. On Earth, people celebrated. Children laughed, soldiers hugged, families cried in relief. Humanity had survived, not because they were the strongest, but because they refused to give up on the Horizon. Voss stood by the window. Lena joined him. We did it, she said. Voss nodded. But we're not done yet. She raised an eyebrow. What now? He looked at the stars. There's more out there. More lost voices, more danger, more hope. He smiled. We answered the next call, tired but proud. They had risked their lives and saved billions. Commander Voss stood in the main room with Lena, Tom, Dax, and the others. We've done what we came for, Voss said, but there's one thing I don't understand. To Eroth, the alien who had sent the first signal, you begged us for help. Why didn't others answer? Eroth looked away. Tom asked, were there others out there? Eroth nodded slowly. Yes, many. Then why didn't they come? Lena asked. Eroth's face was filled with guilt, because they were afraid of you later that night. Voss sat alone, thinking humanity had sent its best. It had fought for strangers. Why, next morning? A message came through. An unknown ship requested to speak. It was a gathering of other alien species, a kind of council. They called themselves the Accord. The message was short. We must talk. Humanity has changed the balance. Orbit above a neutral moon. The Horizon arrived slowly. No weapons. No threat. In the council chamber. Many alien races sat in silence. Tall ones, small ones, shining ones. AIs stood. You destroyed the swarm, something we never could do. Lena nodded. You're welcome. But Silith didn't smile. Some say you saved us. Others say you are worse than the swarm. Everyone froze. Dax whispered. What did he just say? The accusations began. You built weapons too powerful. You fought with no fear. You attacked without asking. You killed a queen, a god to some. You made yourself a threat. Voss stepped forward, angry now. You called for help. Lena spoke with Alira, the young alien girl they rescued. Do they really think we're monsters? Lena asked. Alira looked sad. Then we'll show them who we really are. That night, back on the Horizon, a new signal arrived. It wasn't from the council. It was from a hidden group, aliens who had stayed silent during the war. They called themselves the We know what the swarm was running from. The crew gathered. Tom played the message again. The voice continued. The swarm was not born evil. It was made, and the ones who made it are coming next. Everyone went quiet. Lena whispered, "You mean?" "We didn't ask. For thanks. But we will not stand here and be blamed for doing what you were too afraid to do." Some aliens looked away in shame. Others stared with fear. Then a voice from the side said, "We don't fear you because you're strong." An old alien, wise and tired, stepped forward. "We fear you because you care enough to fight." Unsure of what would happen next, but as they flew back to Earth, one thing was clear. The galaxy didn't know how to deal with humanity, because humanity was not just strong. It was willing to help, willing to die, willing to fight evil even, if no one else would. On the horizon, Voss stood at the window. "We are monsters to some," he said, "but heroes to others." Lena nodded. "Let them watch. Let them fear. We'll be ready," Dax added, "and if something worse is coming, then we fight again." Tom smiled. Time, watching Earth, whispering, "Let the fire rise, we'll burn it next." Space was quiet again. But quiet does not mean safe. Commander Voss stood on the bridge of the horizon. The stars outside were still, peaceful, but inside the ship, a storm was growing. Lena studied the strange message they had received from the group called the Whispers. Tom leaned closer. "Do you think it's real?" Lena nodded. "It talks about something ancient, something that created the swarm." Dax crossed his arms. "If something made the swarm, what does that make them?" Voss looked at the crew. "Something worse, something we've never faced before." That night, in a dark corner of the ship, young Alira woke up screaming. Her small body shook. Her eyes glowed with strange light. Lena rushed to her. "Alira, what's wrong?" "I heard them again," Alira whispered. "The voices. They're close now." "Whose voices?" Lena asked gently. Alira stared at the ceiling, her voice cold and distant. "The ones that whisper in the dark." The next day, the horizon followed the secret coordinates sent by the Whispers. They led to a forgotten plaza, broken system with dead stars and cold planets, a graveyard, no light, no sound. Tom scanned the area. "I don't like this. It's like the universe gave up on this place." Voss gave the order, "Drop a probe." The probe floated into the void, suddenly static, then a sound. SHOULDHAVE LEFTUS ALONE. Asterisk. Lena's face turned pale. "What is that?" Tom's voice shook. "It's not a message. It's a memory." Later they decoded part of the whisper. It told a story, a terrible one. Long ago, a race called the Makers ruled the stars. They built living weapons. One of them was the swarm. But the swarm escaped. It became wild. It became death, and the Makers. They vanished, until now. Voss called a meeting. He looked around the room. His voice was calm but serious. "The swarm was just a tool, a test," Tom asked. "So, the real enemy never came?" Voss nodded. "Not yet, but they will," Lena whispered, "and they're watching." Back in Alira's room, she sat, drawing strange symbols with her finger in the air. Lena entered. "What are those?" she asked. Alira didn't look up. "They come from the void. They sleep in forgotten stars. Now, they're waking. Why?" Alira looked at her. "Because of you?" Meanwhile, in a dark corner of the galaxy, a planet-turned-black dot machines moved without sound. Eyes opened where no eyes should be. The Makers had returned, but they no longer looked like gods. They looked like shadows, and they spoke only one word: Earth. Back on the horizon, Voss stared out at the empty stars. "So, this was never about the swarm," he said quietly. Tom stepped. Beside him, it was a warning. Lena joined them, and now we're the target. Far away, deep in the void, the voices whispered again. "Humanity burns bright. Let us see how long the flame lasts." Darkness was coming, not the kind you see in space. This was something older, deeper, alive. The Makers, the ones who created the swarm, were returning, and this time they were coming for Earth. On board the horizon, the crew stood silent. Hands shook as she looked at the last message from the Whispers. "They fear your light. because fire is the only thing that ever hurt them. Commander Voss spoke firmly. Then look them burn. Tom looked nervous. We don't even know what they are. Voss turned to him. Then we find out. And we fight. Across the galaxy. Aliens who once feared humans now watched in silence. Some prayed, some prepared to run, but none came to help. Earth was on its own. Again, the horizon returned to Earth. The skies were quiet. The cities stood still, but underground. Humanity was ready. Scientists built new weapons using alien tech. Soldiers trained harder than ever. Children read stories of the Starzand, how their people saved the galaxy once, and now they might have to do it again, 1 week later. Ships, not creatures. Just black. A wave of dark energy entered the solar system. It swallowed a moon, then a planet. The sun flickered. People looked up in fear. But humanity didn't run. It rose. The horizon launched again. Not alone this time. Fleets. From Mars, bases from Saturn, underground ships from old wars. Earth sent everything because there was no plan B. This was the last stand, near Jupiter. The first attack came. A massive shape moved in the dark. It wasn't metal. It wasn't alive. It was something in between. Tom shouted, "Incoming!" Lena fired the new cannon. The beam hit the shadow wand for a second. It screamed. The crew watched as the thing pulled away. Dax cheered. It felt that. Voss smiled. Good, we'll give it more. On Earth, the skies turned red. People stood together. Old enemies became allies. One child looked up and said, "Are the monsters coming?" His mother held his hand. "No, sweetheart. We are back in space." More shapes came. The horizon was hit. Lights blinked. Metal groaned. But the ship held inside. Lena shouted. "If we die, make it count," Tom yelled. Target locked. They fired again. The shadow broke apart into black dust. Then they heard it. Voice in all their minds, cold, slow, angry. "You were meant to serve, not to burn." Voss stood tall. "We don't serve. We survive. We fight. We light up the dark." Then Earth spoke. A signal went out from every ship, every base, every human voice. "We are not afraid of you. We are fire, and fire does not bow." The shadows screamed, the stars shook, and then something beautiful happened. The galaxy answered. The aliens who watched from afar. They joined. Ships from distant worlds appeared beside the horizon. Lasers lit the dark. For the first time in history, the galaxy fought as one. Not because they loved humans, but because humans showed them how to fight. The battle lasted for hours. Space turned into a storm of fire and ash. The Makers tried to run, but humanity followed, and when the last shadow died, the stars shined again after the battle. The horizon returned home, damaged, tired, but alive. People cheered. Aliens came to shake. A monument was built on the moon. On it, words were carved. Here stood the fire that would not die. Months later, Voss retired. Lena became captain. Tom trained the next generation, and Alara, once just a scared alien girl, now helped lead peace talks between species in a classroom on Earth. A boy raised his hand. "Teacher," he asked, "why? Did the humans fight alone?" The teacher smiled. "We didn't," she said. "We just fought first, far away." In a silent part of space, a spark glowed, and a voice whispered, "If darkness comes again,